Hey, it's Adewale here from stresstherapist.net, and this video is about getting your husband or wife to listen to you and actually work better with you. So I'm going to be showing you exactly how to achieve this, but more importantly, if you have not yet watched my full free tutorial on how to get difficult family members to cooperate with you so that you experience less pain and manipulation from them whilst interacting with them, head over to www.stresstherapist.net/difficult, and I'm sure you'll find that video useful. So how do you as a couple have difficult conversations safely about something that is perhaps deep and painful without it becoming a disagreement or a fight, and be able to grow from it together? So I had this client once tell me about the experience she had. She was reading a very important book, a book that she found very relevant to herself. And she touched upon this passage that just described her difficulties so clearly. And she says, "Oh my goodness, that's just like me." And in excitement, she runs to her partner who is watching the football that he's been waiting to watch for the last few weeks in the other room, and saying to him, "Gosh, you just to listen to this, is so important." And she's reading it to him, and then she looks over to him to see that he's looking perplexed and wondering what's going on. And somehow she gets frustrated that he's not understanding. Part is, he was in a completely different world when she came in. He was watching the football, right? And she comes in, she was in a completely different world, and somehow expecting that he will just grasp the urgency and intensity without helping him make that connection first. So what's the big point here? The difficulty here is that there are certain things for you that things that you value. These are prized things that you cherish. And the reason that you cherish these things is because in your journey, you've had experiences that have made you begin to value these things. But now you have a partner in your life that it's almost as if those things you value are not being valued at all by him. And every time you broach the subject to kind of highlight the need to work towards these things, you find that your partner treats it like it's not that important, it's not so useful. And perhaps now he's making you feel like you're badgering him with all these things. And this is constantly becoming a block when you're trying to have these conversations, and it's becoming a very painful experience. The problem is that when most people embark on these types of conversation, they use an approach that naturally creates a barrier for the other person. And there's a massive thing contributing to this barrier, and this is that you're in your own bubble, in your own world, and all of a sudden you come out of your bubble to him and try to get him to see the glimpse of what you're seeing in your own bubble, and expecting that it will just work that way. Your life and his life are so different. Your bubble and his bubble are so different. The things that are valuable in your bubble are things that you've had so much experience with. So you're very intimately knowledgeable with them. And that is so very different for him. So with your partner, one of the very first important skills that is you need to start cultivating would be to understand where he is at first. And then understanding what's causing the block and helping him feel understood. Once this happens, he starts to open up, he starts to feel ready to be open and not be so defensive, to have that complex, painful conversation. So let me use an analogy to try and explain this even better. I've got a son, my first boy, he's got ADHD. And one of the things that tends to happen for him is in his attention to whatever he's focusing on, or just not being aware of how other people are reacting around him, he has that tendency to clash with his brother, or clash with his mom, clash with his sister, clash with me. So it can become very difficult to sort of maintain a conversation. So quite often, in order to help him be able to listen, I have to show him how what he's doing is going against what he wants. Once I can help him see that picture, he feels more able to listen. So, as an example, he's just got his mom angry, and he's stamping upstairs, coming upstairs, and coming to me, and I'm saying to him, "Actually, just stop for a second. Let's calm down a little bit. Am I shouting at you?" "No, you're not, Daddy." And Then I then ask him, if I was shouting at you, would you want to listen to me? Then he says, actually, maybe not. So if you are shouting at your mom, do you think you'll be able to get what you want from her? And then he's thinking, oh, actually, that's true. I won't be able to. Then he goes to his mom and speaks in a calmer manner. And then he finds he's more likely to get the outcome he's after. So in a way, I show him that somehow what he's demanding is working against what he wants. And once I can do that, I can get him on my side. And then he's better prepared to listen to me and actually work with me. I hope that analogy makes sense. So the same thing is happening to you. So you're going to your spouse or partner, trying to get him or her to understand something that is within your own system of values. And you're trying to get him to understand that thing, which may even feel like it's contradicting things within his own value system. Now, here's the crucial point. If you are able to find a way to help him see that the things you're talking about, the things that are within your value, are things that are extremely important to the things he values himself, you start finding that he'll be willing to listen, hear you out, and cooperate with you. But to do that, you've got to understand what he wants himself. You've got to understand his set of values. And this is the tricky thing, because you might be thinking that, oh, this is an issue because you've tried to get it from him to truly tell you what he wants himself. Quite often, people are not really able to voice this desire, their values and their wants, but you tend to see it more in the things they do. The things they do will often tell you what is within their value system. So becoming a student of your partner, your spouse, trying to understand the things they value, that's got to be the crucial first point. Because if you do the work for them, helping them see the connection to their values, and you just express that connection, that's when they start to listen. So a few months ago, my wife developed what I call a flower craze. So she saw our neighbors planting flowers, and she had this brilliant idea that she was going to fill all our gardens with flowers. Now she starts to see flowers everywhere. She's seeing flowers in everybody's garden. I mean, we've been living here for over 8 years, and she hasn't seen all those flowers before. But all of a sudden, these flowers are coming out from all the woodworks. So when she came to talk to me about this idea of planting flowers, she came like it's this so very, very, very important thing. And as a result, I also took it as this very, very, very important thing, because I knew it's a value she has picked up. And now that she's valuing that thing, it's very crucial that I value it as well. Because if I do not value it, it could create a wound in our relationship and start to affect the way she treats me or her opinions of how I feel about her. So I tried to understand and accept that value, although it was a very expensive value. But me treating it this way allowed her to go experiment. And then about 2 to 3 months later, the flower craze was gone. And my pockets was very happy. But let's say I do what I usually do, which is like, oh, where would you get the money from? I'll just argue about this is not a good idea and not even listening, right? We would have been fighting. And perhaps months later, she will still have this desire for the flower and be feeling hard done by. The same thing applies to working with your spouse, your partner, being able to understand what his values or her values are, what's making them do what they're doing, what's making them stick to the positions they're sticking to, what's the thing they feel they're going to lose by cooperating with you. So you can help them to now see that by listening to you and working with you, they get more of what they would want. Now remember, if you have not yet watched my free tutorial on how to get your difficult family members to cooperate with you and listen to you, you can watch it right now. Just head over to stresstherapist.net/difficult. And just imagine how wonderful it would be when your family listens to you, even when they're angry with you. It will be so much easier for you to communicate effectively with them, and you won't be wasting time with all those difficult, frustrating family arguments. So go watch the free video now and start having a positive impact on your family.